I'm Lorraine Sommerfeld, and this is the Lemonade Car Show. Tonight we're talking about tires, and as always, we'll be answering all of your car-related questions. Lemonade is brought to you by OMVIC, that's Ontario Vehicle Sales Regulator, and we're produced by the Automobile Protection Association. The APA fights for you, the consumer, and provides information and news on all parts of the industry. Visit our website at apa.ca or reach us by phone at 416-204-1444. Joining me today is John Raymond. He's an industry consultant and APA advisor, and Larry Bristow. He's the owner of Consumers Tire. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Good to be back again.
We'll be taking calls all evening at 800-968-7836. Good time to call in about tires. We got Larry here. I don't know anyone better than you when it comes to tires.
Well, we'll be happy to answer any questions that they might have.
We are going to kick off the top of the show, though, the top 10 minutes with information.
Important recall.
We did good.
We did very good together.
We're going to take credit for this together,
we
too.
Should.
I think this is awesome. Fill us in. Briefly, we talked about an involuntary recall or a voluntary recall.
It must be 2 weeks ago now. Mm-hmm. We talked about a possible recall with FCA, which is Chrysler, and the Ministry of Transport wanted a public comment on it. It involved journeys and a number of other cars, and we encouraged our listeners, and you wrote a column on that.
I wrote a column as well.
Very successful, that encouraged everyone to notify the ministry that there should be recalls of this nature. Mm-hmm. And just before the ministry came up with their edict, Chrysler said, we're going to have a recall for North America. And what's really interesting is there's a greater proportion of cars in Canada that are affected, primarily Journey. And in the US, it's cars with block heaters. So if a car has a block heater from the factory, there's a recall. Where on Canada, it's the whole range of serial numbers. So.
Because it's a steering hose leak, which
Correct.
does have something to do with the temperature, which is why Canada seems
Cold
to
weather.
be affected by it. And what Transport Canada until last year didn't have the power to force a recall. Now they do, but it's been kind of quiet, and a lot of people don't realize that, because in the States they can do that, so we're used to hearing that it's been ordered, and here it's not. But they were a little lukewarm on going after Chrysler. They didn't really want to flex too hard.
Well, I don't think they knew how. So they had the mandate, they changed the law, and they wanted to go in and do this, but they chose to go through public opinion and feedback. And I think they were quite surprised by the number of people that actually wrote, emailed, called in and said, this is important.
Well, I think that's one of the things I like that the APA does, is they say, okay, this is the way you do this. This is how to get from here to there, and you need to know this. Because this was 9 years of 4 different models. Like, this was not a small
Well, it was Journey, Avenger,
the Caravan.
The Caravan, which they took care of some of them, I believe.
And then there was, I can't remember the last one.
Maybe the Sebring or something.
But it was from 2006, I believe. So, I mean, it's a big chunk of models that could have been affected. And I know in the column I wrote, we gave them the email address to, Dear Minister Garneau, we would like to see you take action on this. And I told people to CC me on it, because I wanted to see.
And there were a number of people that wrote in that actually didn't have that product, but felt this was an important mission for them to go on and make sure that recalls become more important to the industry and that they are issued.
So the government heard.
They definitely heard.
They heard. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good work.
Congratulations.
Great column.
Well, you know what? I left here after George was on, and he brought it up, and we dug around a little bit more, and I'm going, okay, this is important. Like, this stuff matters, and especially to those owners who if you've had a car for 8 years, you may not be thinking about that anymore, but when you go to get something fixed, or if you've already had it fixed, which is terrible. But I called my editor and said, can we do this? He said, absolutely. So I like to see the media taking a role that's not, everyone thinks we just write clickbait and write garbage. It's not true. Between all of us, we can start making some changes that actually
that's
help
something
consumers.
that this show is about. This show is about dispensing quality information that's automotive related. We did the piece on pet safety, dog safety in the cars, which
that's still my favorite video that we've ever done.
Larry, what's new in tires?
Oh, well, there's not so much new. I guess what we're getting a lot of questions now is about the all-weather tire. That seems to be, there's been a few manufacturers who have been promoting it for a number of years, and this past past couple of months now with the people starting to do their winter changeovers, and if they're inspecting their tires and seeing that they may need some new summer, winter, or summer or all-season tires, there are people asking about the all-weather tire. So I would say that's, there's more and more questions coming up on that. But it's the time of year when you start the changeover, and you should be having a close look at your tires, and first of all, making sure that you do have lots of tread left to get through it. And one of the big things to look for is look for any impact breaks on the sidewall. People tend to, it's a bubble on the sidewall.
So a bulge?
Yeah, a bulge in the sidewall. And people tend to, you don't see them. And this time of year when you're making the switch, it's always a good time, especially if you've been someone who's driven that car during the winter without changing tires. You've gone with all-season tires with the potholes and everything. That's usually what causes them, is hitting a pothole. Will be it's a shock rupture to the sidewall of the tire. So you want to be checking that. And like I say, make sure your pressures are where they should be, and don't be relying on your TPMS all the time. That seems to be the
tire
pressure monitoring system. That seems to be something that people refer to more than they should be. They should be checking them at least once a month.
In the U.S., tire pressure monitor systems have to be installed on winter tires.
Correct.
And in Canada, they're not mandated.
They're not mandated.
That's probably going to change in the next. We usually, we're the tail, they're the dog, and we end up doing what they do. Those kits, it would add like $1,000 to a set of tires. They were about $250 each. Are they coming down?
Yeah,
the prices of them?
You're looking about $250 now for the set.
For total.
Yeah,
Okay.
the total set.
But they should be on your winter wheels, and
that's
not
right.
to have that level of safety when it's already part of the car is a little silly.
Oh, I know, but I understand when people go, wait, it's going to add at the time about $1,000 to a set of cars. People are like, wait a minute, I'm doing the right thing putting on winter tires, and now I find out these gauges are this independent thing that can't, be moved over. But the lights stay on all winter.
Also, it's tire pressure fluctuation. So in the winter, you go into a warm garage and then you go out in the cold. There's more tire fluctuation, pressure-wise, than there is during the summer.
Yeah.
So that's really when you need it.
Oh,
well,
I agree. I'm just putting forth the argument, which is kind of valid until the prices start to come down. But people do need to know about them. Yeah.
You're starting to find, if you look at the progression over the years, when people put their winter tires on, a lot of people weren't buying a separate set of wheels. Now they're starting to buy it. All the cars have the pressure monitors on them. And so more and more people, because they've invested in a set of wheels, are starting to put a little money into putting the sensors in, knowing that, hey, I'm going to have this for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea, because $250 isn't that high to pay.
Well, that I could sell.
To maintain the safety.
And what people don't realize is underinflation is a huge factor, not only on tire wear, but suspension wear, comfort, braking, safety, fuel economy is a good one.
Yeah, there's all that for sure.
Safety and fuel economy, most people would tick those two boxes right away. It's like, okay, you're gonna.
But how many people check their tire pressure, unfortunately?
Unfortunately, not many.
No.
Not many.
No, you know how we look? We look.
Yeah.
That's how we check
Looks
tire
fine.
pressure. It looks okay.
We even have customers, when we bring the car out, they'll come back in and say, the tire looks flat. Okay, and it's because it's a low profile tire. And
Nissan's tires tell you when we were doing a gig and you go to inflate them, and I forget what sound it makes. It chimes or whatever when it's hit at the right point. It's awesome because you can't goof.
So it's something they've got in the valve stem or something that must be sensing it and
and it's most of their models.
That's a smart idea.
It's brilliant, and we were driving Rogues and Sentras, and they both had it. And it tells you. So I like that. It takes the guesswork out, because some people, a little tire pressure monitor, but if you're not sure, and a lot of times being unsure makes you not have a lot of confidence. So you end up going, I'm just going to err on the side of not touching anything, right?
But we can't emphasize enough to check tire pressure, at least monthly, and especially oil.
Yeah, or have someone designate someone in the house that has to go around and do that and check. And again, low profile tires. There's so many different kinds of tires now. That's the other thing.
Well, there is, and I think that the big thing, especially in a low profile tire, is that
You know what? I'm going to get you to hold that thought because I want to talk more about low profile and run flat. We're going to talk about that. The Lemonade Car Show brought to you by OMVIC. Ontario's motor vehicle sales regulator returns after this short break. When we come back, we'll be taking your calls, 800-968-7836.